Yeah, so as I'm recommending POS systems over the years, we want to provide service. We want to make sure that we're serving people, right? Which is why we named it what it is. But the real game changer is if this POS system was just a launch and go to market, it'd be just another POS system. And there's a lot of great things about it. There's a lot of things that make it that make it great and different, and will really deliver in this day and age for restaurateurs. But if you add the back end of Restaurant Systems Pro directly into a POS system, there's not a single thing on the market like it. There's not a POS system on the market that does accounting and invoice scanning and is doing all from checklists for your employees and the scheduling apps all tied in, and all of that stuff is really Restaurant Systems Pro is the differentiator.
With excitement, allow me to introduce to you today's guest, CEO of Restaurant Systems Pro and SRVE POS, Fred Langley. My man, Fred, are you feeling unstoppable today?
I'm feeling unstoppable.
Now, if this name and this company sounds familiar, it's because they've been an incredible support to Restaurant System Pro. I had you on the show, episode 960, 40 episodes ago approximately. We were in Dallas. It was the beginning of the year. And you kind of made a little comment during that interview. I don't know if you remember.
I remember.
The only thing that's missing is
a POS system.
And now
we have it.
Yes, congratulations, my friend.
Officially launched today at the show.
How psyched are you, my man?
We're really psyched because, it just goes back to what we're all about, which is serving people. We named the POS system SRVE, SRVE, and we're launching it. And it's really exciting because it could be just another POS system out in the market, and they're kind of a dime a dozen at this point. There's so many out there. For many years, I've been recommending POS systems. We integrate with many POS systems, and so we know them and know what they're about and what they're doing, and we're able to recommend them. But I always recommended a POS system based on the service that you would get. What's going to happen on Saturday night when everything's falling apart and credit card processing goes down, or you need help and you're a restaurant owner and you're used to table 20 needs their food right now. It's not like, hey, submit a ticket and 5 days later we'll get back to you sort of thing. Or you call somebody that is looking at the same manual that you're looking at too, but somebody that's truly an expert that can show up and help and serve you, right? Yeah. And so on our walls in Restaurant Systems Pro during the pandemic, I wrote it just so it was clear to my entire team. Our entire mission is to serve them well, and them as restaurant owners. So
this was one of the biggest lessons I learned in my now over 1,000 episodes, which is crazy as this airs. Thank you very much. Is that when you're looking at a POS company, don't look at the bottom. Don't just look at what is this going to cost me.
Yeah.
And don't go for the cheapest option out there.
It's not just the features either. Yeah.
Really look at the customer service. That is going to be what makes and breaks you. Like on a Friday night at 8:30 or like whatever your busiest time is for your concept, and if your POS goes down and you need that support now, it's that support that is going to be worth its weight in gold.
I tell our people, customer service for a software company is hospitality.
Yeah.
And restaurateurs understand hospitality better than any other software users on the planet, right? And so if you want to be at their level, then you need to provide hospitality as a software company.
So why don't you tell us a story? So there is a story behind this. I don't know how much you're allowed to tell us.
Yeah, there's a lot I can't share too. So, but yeah, definitely we'll get there.
But you've always wanted to have a POS, and a lot of your clients would reach out to you. And they would say, is it a POS? And you would say, technically, no.
Yep. At the show last year, so we're at the NRA show, we had a big sign on our booth last year that said, not a POS. And people were like, we're glad you're not a piece of... I'm like, oh, that's funny. Got it. But yeah, restaurateurs understand what POS means.
Right. Yeah. So how is this going to change the game?
Yeah, so, as I'm recommending POS systems over the years, we want to provide service. We want to make sure that we're serving people, right? Which is why we named it what it is. But the real game changer is if this POS system was just a launch and go to market, it'd be just another POS system. And there's a lot of great things about it. There's a lot of things that make it that make it great and different, and will really deliver in this day and age for restaurateurs. But if you add the back end of Restaurant Systems Pro directly into a POS system, there's not a single thing on the market like it. There's not a POS system on the market that does accounting and invoice scanning and is doing all from, checklists for your employees and the scheduling apps all tied in, and all of that stuff is really Restaurant Systems Pro is the differentiator.
Yeah, and like I've had multiple conversations over the past couple of years, especially in Restaurant Unstoppable Network. The subject of an enterprise solution kept coming up, and that the industry has been in desperate need for an enterprise solution, and there's been a lot of companies out there that offer a lot of solutions and a lot of integrations where you can kind of duct tape things together,
and we have those.
But what is what makes it so much different to have a POS that you own that is the complete package from literally A to Z, everything that you need in a restaurant? Why is that a game changer?
Well, a lot of the problem in the marketplace today is finding good managers, and a POS system or a piece of software is not going to replace good leadership or hospitality or any of that in your store. But what it is going to do is a lot of these things that managers like to complain about, it's going to be easier, more automation. Things like labor allotments being done automatically instead of a manager having to compile data and run the report and put it in the system. Direct feedback on scheduling if you're over or under without having to do anything. It just tells you. You set the big picture goals in your budget, in your pro forma, in your budget. And if none of that is in alignment, then everybody automatically knows it instead of having to figure that stuff out in spreadsheets or getting out there. And it's all live in the moment. You're not having to have a bookkeeper generate journal entries. All of the sales data is there in the system, so it automatically can do all the accounting.
So what does this mean for Restaurant Systems Pro? So before you acquired Serve or developed Serve, what can you do now that you couldn't do before? Obviously taking the orders and all that stuff and processing the actual payment, but how has this changed the game for you?
So one of the things about Restaurant Systems Pro is we are proactive. So the big differentiator from other things on the market is they're always looking at backwards reporting. What did I do in labor last week? What was my food cost last week? What did I do in the past? And the thing that's a reality for everyone is they can't change the past. You can't change it. Now, you can learn from the past, and that's why good reporting is there, and that's why we have it. It's important. But the most important thing a restaurant can do is control tomorrow. They can control their next order. They can control their next schedule. They can control. They can set a budget that sets up the life they want, and then let them know in the moment if they're on track for the life that they need to have happen, both for their employees and customers and community.
Yeah. And I know the people listening to this, one thing I'm also curious about, I was under the impression that when you brought on a POS, it was going to be Restaurant Systems Pro, which included a POS, but you've chosen to keep it separate. Why is that?
Correct. Because we have a lot of people that are in POS systems that they're happy with. And we don't want to alienate that. We still want to have our Toast integration and Aloha and Micros and
so you can still use Restaurant Systems Pro and not use the Serve.
Correct.
POS.
Yeah. And you're just pulling that data in instead of with our integrations.
Got it. Mm-hmm. But what will for the benefit in terms of the benefit for the consumer, for the restaurateur? Why would you recommend that they go with both?
Yeah. No double entry. You're gonna have. If I enter an employee in the POS system, it's automatically. There's no mapping. There's no I have to tell Restaurant System that this employee is this employee. There's none of that stuff. In Restaurant Systems Pro, I can write a schedule and push it into a POS system, but now it's all live. I write my schedules. It's live. Now employees can't clock in and out outside of that. You can't the support too. That's another thing too that we're going to be that's just the support that Restaurant Systems Pro gives. The amount of give a blank that you to quote you on there is very true.
Is there
right? Yeah.
You didn't include the full blank on the. We're being politically correct. We're business professionals here.
God forbid we offend a restaurant owner with a bad word, so because they're not used to them.
But honestly speaking, what you're talking about is the thing that sincerely is the most impressive thing about Restaurant Systems Pro is the level of give a blank.
Yeah.
And it's because Restaurant Systems Pro was created by restaurateurs.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And they know the pain. It was owned by restaurateurs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another big, I almost blanked
Yeah.
it again. That's a testament right there. That's an effing testament right there.
Man.
Is that the way you got the funding? Where did you get the funding to be able to get?
Yeah,
to where
so
you
we've
are
raised
today?
our first round, and it's from Restaurant Systems Pro clients. So restaurant owners, and I had one of the restaurant owners say to me, they said, Fred, when it comes to investing in Restaurant Systems Pro, I have all of this extra capital that I need to do something with, right? I'm going to be investing it. And I can't think of anything better to invest it in than the thing that helped me make it all to begin with, right?
Yes.
So
And that is not like a testament to the amount of integrity and character between the people that are involved behind the scenes. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, what else speaks more than money? You know what I'm saying?
We're so excited about it. Like, I mean, and to take these proactive systems and apply them in real time. Because sometimes, like I kind of have to teach you one of our systems. Like, I have this system that's called the reverse labor system, right? And it's called a reverse labor system, and it's proprietary, and there's not anybody on the market that uses it. And our POS system is going to make this thing even more powerful, because what it does is a different way of looking at labor. Most restaurateurs are looking at their labor as a percentage. Okay. So they have this percentage, and this is their percentage target, and somebody along the way told them what their percentage should be. Okay. And if I go into my POS system at 11 in the morning, and if I go in the morning and I look at my labor, at 11 in the morning, it's probably 150%, because I've done maybe one little sale, and I have people that have been working since 8. If I look at lunch, it may be 40%, because I've done some sales. It's not a lot. At 7 o'clock, it might be 11% or 12%, because that's my peak of sales, and all of that's in there. But then I still have people that are going to be working and finishing. And so most restaurants are managing their labor on this percentage, but they can never check it throughout the day. They never know where they stand. And so what we did is we created this system that said, hey, we're doing a labor budget, and that labor budget is based on, here's my budget, and then here's my sales forecast, my budget, and then this is how many hours I can schedule instead of looking at it as percentages. And it all ties in. We take into account salaries and all that stuff. And
it makes it easier for people who aren't thinking about points. Like your assistant manager isn't going to be thinking about that kind of stuff.
And it's much easier to go to a green manager and say, hey, you have 100 hours to schedule. And then they can write a schedule and then really easily know, instead of like figuring out percentages or looking at the percentage, and the percentage is high on Monday and low on Saturday, and which one's right, and all this stuff. And so we tell them, and then so the reverse labor system is the reverse of the labor allotment, and it's how we want restaurants looking at their labor. And what we do is we go the reverse of the labor allotment, and we say, okay, here's the actual schedule I've written. We know all the pay rates and everything that's in there. It's all tied together. Here's my budget. This is the sales I need to do to be on budget.
Got it.
So now, instead of thinking of percentage and having a cut mentality, we have restaurateurs thinking of growth mentality, and they have a sales target. And so they know, hey, if I do $3,000 today, then based on the schedule that I have, I'll be on budget, because it says, hey, we need to do $2,800. And so if I'm on pace, and your gut feeling will tell you if you're on pace. And I always tell restaurateurs, they always have a really good gut feeling for running their business, and a lot of times they don't know their numbers. There's also some restaurateurs that only know their numbers and don't have a good feeling of it. They're pencil pushers in the office, right?
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
But they don't
That's
know how
rare.
to move it. Yeah.
Most restaurateurs are really high on gut feeling, not knowing their numbers if we're looking. But the reality is you have to have both those things. You have to have a good gut feeling, and you have to know your numbers to make good quality decisions. And the reverse labor system is an example of that, where the numbers, we make it easier to understand the numbers by converting what your labor targets are into sales data, and we make it easier to check that gut feeling against what those sales numbers say, right? I have a gut. I know what we're going to be doing on there. So I know what we need to be doing for that. So that's really, really, really important that we can tie all that together. So
yeah. So one thing that I want to talk about, I think it's something that I know about you personally in your story, that you studied profit first. You're pro profit first?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I love it. So we We are I read that book and it really identified. In fact, one of the Restaurant Systems Pro client put me onto that book. He's like, Fred, I was reading this book and this is like you. And I was like, okay, I'll read the book. And it was all about, because we would have people, plan every single dollar that's coming in their business. The very first software we ever created back in 2006 was a budgeting software for rrestaurants.
Yeah. So one of the things I want to know about is knowing that you are a fan of Profit First. And when we talk about growth, we say cash flow and people determine your growth. And it's hard to but the cool thing with Profit First is you know exactly when you have that excess cash flow, because if it's not there, then you don't have it. Right? How did you incorporate this knowledge, or this mindset at least, of Profit First? How did you bake that into Restaurant Systems?
Well, you have to do everything on purpose, and you have to plan for profits. You can't just go into a month, a week, a day without a plan and expect to execute your goals. And so it puts all that in place. So it says, hey, what are we going to spend before we spend it? And also what that does, that kind of ties into our promise of buying back time for owners, because what we're able to do through systems is delegate big picture goals and processes, things like our checkbook, delegate purchasing, delegate scheduling, delegate these big dollars. If I'm $1 million restaurant, you could be spending $500,000 to $600,000 on food and labor. Sometimes people are spending $700,000 or $800,000 on food and labor on doing $1 million, and that's a problem, right? But if somebody is in charge of spending that much money without any kind of guidelines, just kind of looking at the shelf and hitting print on the printer paper, the most expensive print paper in your business, and writing down an order based on just going in the walk-in and looking around. That's not managing product, and that's not any way of doing business. And you're going to be buying it more expensive at the store, and all these other problems lead into that. And so if you're going to do it, you got to do it on purpose, and you got to plan it.
Got it. The other thing that I know is unique about Restaurant Systems Pro, the fact that it's literally everything you need. Now with the POS, there isn't an element that's missing. And for me, somebody like me, honestly speaking, I don't like technology. Mm-hmm. I mean, I get it. I know it's important. I'm not arguing against it.
Right.
But I at the same time think that there's people that are meant to be plugged into it and that interface really well with it, and that like doing the research to, go out and find the product that they like best for, they can, people call it the app trap, right? Yeah. But some people enjoy that because they like certain. Right. I'm not one of those people, and I know a lot of people there's a lot of people like me out there where they rather just make one purchase, know every thing that they need is covered under the umbrella of that purchase, and that product is evolving with the time. It's constantly growing and evolving. So that's just one huge anxiety-filled thing of constantly trying to figure out what's the latest technology I need.
It's not even so much the technology. I don't even consider myself a technology person. I'm a chef, right? Yeah. I came up in, but I know what restaurants need. I know that they need their accounting automated. I know that they need to be able to do deliveries too. I know that they need their own app, right? That's their own brand, right? People go to Starbucks app and Chick-fil-A app and all these apps, but the independent doesn't have that app for the most part. Right. You have to go and engage somebody to build it on yourselves. Way more expensive. Our POS system is going to provide them their own app. And also managing the delivery.
So when you say app, you mean ordering? Like as the consumer can go to this app and place orders. Yep. You can order online.
Yep. So they can do it through the app, order online. They can be on their couch ordering on your custom app. There's some things that we're doing that are coming down the line that I don't want to quite share yet. But one of the things that we're going to be really working on, and it's things that, because I'm so connected to my clients, like I have certain clients right now that are managing all their own deliveries, right? Pizza restaurants have been managing their own delivery since the 80s or 70s or forever.
I came up in the pizza world, so whenever I hear about people talking about domestic delivery, I'm like, is there another option? Isn't that how you're supposed to do it?
Yeah. It's crazy. So when it comes to delivery, I have clients that are doing a good job of managing, and where we want restaurants to be able to do is, instead of giving up 30% to Uber Eats and DoorDash, for somebody to be on their couch, order from that restaurant, and be able to get their delivery without DoorDash taking 30% of it,
right?
Or Uber Eats, and they, I guess they have their place in some, but they're really making a lot of money off the backs of a hardworking restaurateur, and we want them to be able to cut that out. And so there's a lot of my clients that have done a really good job of having driver without having to hire drivers, where they're being paid by delivery out of their own back door and stuff. They're just needing that technology that manages that and can control it and dispatch it and all of those things. And for us to be able to roll that out here in the first few months of us launching is going to be really, really exciting.
So, and in my conversations with all these restaurateurs, one of the big things that I know is important to restaurant owners, there's two things that I want to address that I know Serve does well, or is an option with the bundle with Serve, is one, tableside ordering.
Yes, tableside ordering, absolutely.
That's one thing restaurateurs want to know, is this an option?
Yes.
So the answer to that is yes.
Yes, handhelds, anywhere in the table, it could be handhelds from servers, but then also ordering themselves from their own device in the store.
So
as well.
the guest could use a kiosk.
No, they do it right from your app,
from the phone,
and it comes to your table in the restaurant.
So how does that work? Take me through that process.
Yeah, so there's a QR code on the table, and it goes in. But instead of it being that QR code goes to your own app for your restaurant, instead of taking you to that POS's app or site.
So I'm
for
the
them
consumer.
To order.
I sit down. I scan the QR code.
Yep.
That takes me to
it takes you directly within the app.
Okay.
So that QR code will take you within the app. It lets and the reason for the QR code is so we know which table you're at. That's the only reason. Otherwise, you can just order it too. Because
that was my question. Yeah. How do they know which table? So
yes, exactly. So the QR code, it's a different QR code at every table.
So that's essentially just a table number.
Correct. Yeah. And then we know where it's at too. Now, I've seen this in action, and we've tested it. And what I have seen for sure is and this is where it's going to be a really important part of us not just being a POS company, is I've seen service massively decline when people use this, because they think, oh, now the servers will have more time to be tableside and talking and all this stuff. And in theory, that's true, but I've seen hospitality go away with these.
We haven't
apps.
figured out how to train for it yet.
We got to train it, right?
There's no habits around it.
Exactly.
You think it's weird. It's like I'm thinking of cell phones right now in general. Like they came out of nowhere.
Right.
And overnight, we never developed, what's the word I'm looking for? Just how to be polite with cell phones in our hands.
Yeah.
Like there was what is social norms that were developed over time. Like when you approach somebody, you make eye contact, you smile, you're there, and you're present. And then once the phone came out, it's like all those rules went out the rule.
I'm trying to teach some of those to my kid. Like, hey, don't you answer a text when you're talking to somebody. Don't don't pick up a phone if you're in a conversation with somebody.
But it's interesting because we live in this world where it's changing so fast that we're not able to keep up. But there's habit and normal behavior hasn't had a time to establish
that's a good
itself.
Point. Yeah.
Because it's changing so fast.
Right.
So I agree. Theoretically, if you have these tablets, it frees up. Or if you let people order them straight from the app, it frees up human bandwidth, or at least cuts your labor expense. But you have to go through that training of just because you're not taking the order doesn't mean. So what does that look like for?
Well, it looks like you have to have a combination of stuff, because when you're teaching true hospitality, you have to understand that if we're out to dinner and we're engaged with one another, that engagement that we have with one another is where emotions and memories are made, not because of how good your food is or anything like that. So the restaurant's job is to show up and enable that. And now if I'm relying on that, if I have an empty beer in front of me, if I'm relying on that person going into the app, they have to stop their conversation and go in there and do it. So the technology can be good, but we also want to educate our restaurateurs to understand that it doesn't replace great hospitality. So if you and I are having a conversation right now, if I have to go and stop and order my next beer, it hurts our conversation. It hurts my experience in your restaurant. But instead, if I have an intuitive person that's providing hospitality, they're going to get me another beer without me having to have that conversation or experience stop. And that's going to be an important part of our rollout with this stuff, is understanding the time and place for the technology, but also understanding that we don't want restaurants to lose hospitality. We help restaurants save massively on food costs. And a lot of people out there at face value, they think we're helping them save because they cut quality of product and all that too, which is not even close to what we do. We just help you use your product better, and we never realize that we're misusing product or misportioning or any of that. And that's where the massive savings come in. Not even from shopping vendors. It's from really in our use of product is where most of it comes. And to be able to know that I bought 40 pounds of chicken, but my POS system says I should have used 30 pounds of chicken. Well, now I know there's a problem. The 10 pounds of chicken went somewhere, and then you start figuring it out, right? Yeah. Was it over portioning? Did somebody steal it? And you start getting to the bottom of it.
There's one more element that I think is key, that is a game changer, and you haven't even brought it up yet. So we talked about a lot of the game-changing elements. I want to reinforce, you are the only enterprise solution that has its own proprietary POS.
Yep.
Fully integrated.
Yep.
There's not a system missing.
Right.
I'm sure there's maybe some.
I mean, there's things that we're rolling out with it, like our KDS is almost ready, things like that. But we're really this POS system's not brand new either. That's part of the story of it too. So we were able to acquire the intellectual property of this POS system through the
tableside management.
Yep.
Or tableside ordering.
Yep.
Through the app ordering, right?
Yep.
Native delivery.
Yep.
That's a feature?
Oh, and think about, so I think you know my heart, Eric. Here's a big thing too. I think you know my heart, and I understand that if my company has infinite thinking, that if we're thinking about a lifetime relationship with our restaurateur, then one of the things that we're not going to do is rape and pillage on credit card processing.
This is where I was getting. You knew I was getting there. I was like, this hasn't come out yet. But you're. I mean, it's like I'll say. I think you're arguably your biggest competitor out there right now is probably Toast.
Yeah, I think they're everybody's biggest competitor.
Everyone's
they're huge
biggest.
behemoth in the market.
Market share.
Yep.
It's Toast.
Yep.
They have a closed platform, meaning you don't get to choose which credit card processor you go with. Toast is a credit card processor first.
Yep.
POS second.
So you know me. A lot of people know me, and if I tell them you're going to get the best rates, they'll know to trust me on that.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's a lot of people out there, they don't know who I am. They don't know what I'm about or what my company's about. And so we have to build some trust. And so what that means is we're going to do your processing. We're going to beat your rates. We're going to be low. And you're going to be able to hold us accountable so that we're not the linen company or the CO2 company, Nuco of the world. We're not going to be that of the POS world. And so we'll be processor agnostic. So that is somebody that doesn't know who we are, is our way of keeping us accountable to these great credit card processing rates that we're going to get. We're going to allow you to shop us.
So you really have the best of all worlds behind this thing. And from what I understand, those are the big things. People want open processing. Mm-hmm. They want tableside ordering. They want to be able to have diversity in how people order and flexibility in business model. Mm-hmm. So whether you're full service or you're sit at the table and order from the table, or counter service, or if you're a dog park and there's a QR code on like the fire pit that you're sitting next to, you have a lot of flexibility with this, which is really good. People want flexibility as we move into the future, and as the standard business model starts to die. Not fast enough, in my opinion.
I mean, there's lots of things. I could walk up to a food truck and order from my phone, and my food's going to come ready from the food truck instead of standing in line at a food truck. I just walk up to an order.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, there's lots of uses.
So I'm super excited for you guys. This was meant to be a short little clip of just we wanted to talk about this when you're on the show back at episode 960, going back almost 6 months ago.
Man, you've been working.
What's that?
You've been working.
40 episodes, 2 episodes a week,
that's
man.
Awesome, man.
So the news is here. Also, I'm hoping we connect with Robert St. John.
Yes.
So if that's the case, we might roll his recording ahead of this one, because it was over almost a year ago, where I interviewed Robert St. John.
I think it was around August, I think, is when you did. I think.
Was it that?
Yeah, because I started working with them in October.
Almost a year ago, in 9 months.
Yeah.
It's been about 9 months.
Okay.
So we're rolling up on close to a year that I interviewed him, and he said, I've been hearing, I listened to your show, and I've been hearing a lot about this Restaurant Systems Pro. What's going on with it? And I told him everything I knew, and I remember the biggest thing, I was like, the thing that you're going to get from them right now that you won't get from anybody else is support. And when I started talking about that, I saw his eyes line up. And I'm hoping to talk to him and get a testimonial today, because he's been with you guys for about 9 months.
Yeah, so he started in October. I started with his manager. He does this cooking tour in Italy, and so he was out of pocket for the first couple months. Traveling. So he's just building this empire that is built off of his passion. And it's sometimes restaurateurs they sacrifice everything so that our guests and employees are all taken care of, and they take care of the whole world first. And that's noble and that's important. But at the same time, we have a responsibility to be extremely successful and profitable so that we could do more, because money only magnifies what's already there. And there's so many restaurateurs that have such big hearts and such huge missions and such passion for food and service and hospitality and want to invite people into their homes and do this. And if we could magnify that with money, I think that's going to change the world. I really do.
I mean, money is just the fuel that makes it all happen.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anything that did not come out from our chat today? Something that you were hoping that we would talk about? I'm really excited to talk to Robert St. John. That's the goal, to get him on to see like firsthand. You shared some numbers with me that you've had an impact recently. Or maybe it was Gino.
Yeah, so I think Gino's been working with him directly. I worked with his managers in the beginning, and I'll probably leave it up to Robert to share numbers. I don't like to share numbers of restaurants without that direct, in public forum. But it's been some massive things. Like, he's already a profitable restaurateur, but when you start to look at what's available, they're becoming more profitable. And like, if anybody knows Robert, like, there's not a snowball chance in hell that he's going to buy any lesser quality of a product. There's not a snowball chance in hell that he's going to provide any less than great hospitality. And we've helped them navigate those things and drive profitability without giving up those things. Yeah, so, and that, I'm really proud of that.
So hopefully we can get him on to give that testimonial. Yeah. If we do, we'll probably roll before this section of the episode. But I just want to say congratulations, man. There's no group of people in this industry that deserve what's happening more than you guys, and I'm really excited to see how Serve becomes a game changer for you guys. I know once the word gets out, it's just a matter. You guys are
word is out internally with our Restaurant Systems Pro clients, and it's insane. Like the number of people not only investing in it, but also which the investment's closed. Don't ask on that, but not only investing in a boat, but just saying they want to be the user of it. And some have said it without even looking at it or anything, but they just know us, and they said, we're in. If you guys are doing this, we're in. And so I couldn't be more honored by something like that. And I understand it's an awesome responsibility, and we're going to take great care to always work for the restaurateur. And that's what's also cool, too, about our investment is, we'll go public. That's something that's going to happen in the future. But one of the things that happens sometimes is that officers of corporations work for shareholders and boards and things like that. And one thing that's going to maintain with us, no matter what, is that we exist for the restaurateur. Yeah. And we will work for the restaurateur on behalf of the restaurateur.
Not the stakeholder.
Not the stakeholder.
Yeah,
right?
And the restaurateurs are the stakeholders in this case.
Exactly.
So they all get it.
So, it's infinite thinking. It's lifetime relationship. That's the part of the credit card processing, too, is like, why? Like, you start to look at some of the gouging that happens with restaurateurs, and it is short term and just makes them go. In 1 year, I'm going from here to here to here every other year. I'm very proud of the fact that Restaurant Systems Pro clients have been with us an average of 11 years. An average of 11 years.
That's wild.
So people have been with us since 2004. It's crazy. Even when we were all spreadsheets way back when. So that is really, really, really cool thing that I'm proud of.
So when this episode goes live, it'll be about a month from now.
Okay.
Where do people go? Are we sending restaurantunstoppable.com, Restaurant Systems Pro? Will you be launching another 60-day training around that time?
Yeah. We're always launching a 60-day training, and it's available to Restaurant Unstoppable listeners through your link that you provide. We definitely want to have people on there, and that's where I go on. And in fact, the interview is happening, and so even if I can't go on, like right behind us, one of my consultants, Lisa's running it. Like even at the show, we're not stopping it. Yeah. Like we do it, and we go hard, and it's. Some people don't want to do it because they're like, oh my gosh, 60 days of doing something. But the people that have been doing it have been creating massive change in it. So I'm really excited at the results of it. I've been doing it since August, and it's also a way for us to show our character to people before they come into our fold.
And I like to echo this. How's it going? It is tough. There's a lot of distractions here. Every time,
all of Eric, just so everybody knows, all of Eric's fans are just walking by and taking pictures and waving, and
it's a little weird. I'm not gonna lie, but it's good for my ego, so I'm gonna let it happen.
Love it.
I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say?
Yeah.
So one thing I want to make clear: when you sign up with Restaurant Systems Pro and you use the Serve POS, running a restaurant is hard, and there's going to be a stack of things you have to do to be ready to use Restaurant Systems Pro to its fullest potential, but there's going to be no question as to what to do. And I think that it's really important that if you're a first-time restaurateur and you have to build all these systems, if you have no experience, it's going to be overwhelming. You're not going to know where to start. But what happens beyond getting all the systems, you get put on a course, on a track, you're on rails. You start here, next step, and here are all the systems you're going to need, lay it out, here you go. There's going to be no question as to what I have to do. I think that's the cool thing. It takes the anxiety and the fear out of what do I have to do. It's literally laid out for you, but you still have to do it. And I'm telling you right now, if there's anybody in this industry that's telling you that they have the secret or the code or the hack or the fast, like the shortcut, don't listen to those mofos. Don't listen to them. They are trying to sell you snake oil.
Yep.
There is only the obstacle, and it's going through it, and it's doing the work. And this, like, I think I said it during our first interview, but this is literally a path through the fucking obstacle.
Yes.
It is a center line to go, boom, this is how we get there.
Yep.
And I think that it's important to let people know that's also what you're getting.
Some people are afraid of this work because they're like, what if I do all this work and I don't get the result? Like, that's a fear that people have with anything. Like, what if I do all this working out and I don't get the result that I wanted? What if I do all this dieting and I don't get the result I want, right? But we also know that I'm not going to eat a salad one day and expect to be thin the next day either, too. And this is where it's a process that you have to put in the work. But if you do the work, you will get the result.
Exactly.
You know,
and this
it's just not a secret.
It's an accountability. Yeah. It's a built-in checklist for everything you need, including building systems. Yeah. So it's a system for building systems. Yep. You know.
On the other end of it, though, it's like when you're the joy on the other end of getting in shape or those things. I like to use the gym analogy or all that too. There's some good feeling about accomplishing that, losing 20 pounds or whatever too. But on the other side of this, when you start seeing more profit at the bottom line or some profit or whatever you're starting from, to start having a lot of these things being automated and just have it become part of your everyday life of what you do, and having your buy-in from your management team and start, then things get a little bit easier at that point too. But you got to do the hard before the easy comes.
Right. So when is your next 60-day training?
June 1st. June 1st it'll start. Yep.
We might have to bump this episode up a little sooner to make sure.
Well, then the next one will be July 1st, so we're going to continue through it. So
all right. So, but you start 60-day training the first of every month?
Yeah. So I do 2 at a time. Okay. So my group right now I have a group that started on May 1st. That I do, and then I also do the group that started April 1st. So I don't wait 60 days to do it. So I have 2 groups going all the time, at least for this year.
So it's not like you're just giving somebody the right to use your technology. Like, you walk them through it.
Yeah, I'm going on live every day.
Where else does the CEO of the company go live every day to handhold the onboarding process?
I mean, I want to have that relationship too. It also lets me connect with people. And that's what it's about too. I have people on my team, and then we have all of our coaches and stuff that keep people going. Obviously, we have a 100-day on process after the 60 days too, which is like to ensure that people are using and getting it right. But there's some proprietary systems that I really am passionate about teaching. I created a lot of them during difficult times in the restaurant business, and it pulled me through. And there's nothing I love than sharing more of that too. Getting some software consulting from me as well, which allowed me to get an executive assistant, which has freed up some time for me to be able to do that.
Yeah, I hijacked her executive assistant. I love it. Today. She was taking photos for us. She's doing double time right now. Well, I can't say enough. Congratulations on everything, all the positive things that are happening for you and your team. You guys you work harder than anybody I know. It's crazy. You guys are putting it out there. And you deserve this, and I can't wait to see what happens next, man. Congratulations.
We learned to work hard in a restaurant, though. So yeah.
And it galvanized you. So again, if you're listening to this, and if we got your interest in episode 960, this is now episode 1004. You can head over to restaurantstoppable.com/1004. We'll have a link to Restaurant Systems Pro. Our unique link to go sign up through our portal so you know that they came from us, or just head over to restaurantstoppable.com/RSP. SRVEP, and that will bring you to a landing page where you can get signed up for the next 60-day training.
Awesome.
and get onboarded with Restaurant Systems Pro and serve. And congratulations, man.
Nice.
There literally is no questioning. You are unstoppable.
We have to interrupt today's video to let you know that right now, Restaurant Systems Pro is offering a no strings attached 60-day trial that will help you improve your systems, increase your profit, and find better work-life balance. All you have to do is click the link below.
All right, we are at the National Restaurant Association show in Chicago. I'm sitting across the table from Jared Patterson. Jared, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm the Director of Operations for New South Restaurant Group in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and we've got one concept in Ridgeland, Mississippi. But I work with and for Robert St. John, who's the CEO of New South Restaurant Group.
So I had Robert St. John on the show. It was an awesome episode. I want to say it was like 940, something like that. But
yep.
if you're listening to this, it was like 9 months ago. If you're listening to this, go search Robert St. John Restaurant Unstoppable. Listen to that episode. He's got a really great story. I love what he's doing for his community, and he just gets out. I love how he's getting out of the way and letting you guys run the show.
Yeah,
you know, and I think it's a great leadership. Like just like trust your people and let them do their job, right? And that's one thing that I picked up from his story, and one thing I admire about him. But at the end of our interview, he and I were talking, and he asked me, he's like, "What's going on with this Restaurant Systems Pro?" And I told him, I was like, "It's a great organization. The people are amazing. Their customer service is unheard of, and it's a step-by-step process to systematize almost every element of your business." And you are the Director of Operations for the restaurant group. So Robert St. John has essentially tasked you with implementing this new technology.
That's right. I really call myself the steward of all of this for all of the restaurants. And we started with our biggest concept, our highest sales concept, and that's where we're at right now. So we've started in our biggest concept first, and we try to do recipe costing cards. We try to do all that kind of stuff, but with some other systems. But putting that on our managers to do all that legwork in addition to run the restaurant is difficult. So we needed kind of a white glove approach to getting all this information in, or certainly get it rolling. And Restaurant Systems Pro provides that. It's a lot of work that they require you to do inventory every week, but that allows you this insane visibility to make weekly decisions as opposed to monthly decisions. And that's normally how restaurants run. They do inventory once a month. They're looking at their labor for the month, and they're not able to really affect anything if something's out of whack in the meantime. And so Restaurant Systems Pro gives you that ability that if you're over 1 week, you can adjust it for the next week. So you're not sitting at your end of month numbers, wondering where the money went.
What has been your favorite feature up to this point?
So, I could get into the kind of nitty gritty of it. I love the labor projections and they do reverse labor, but one of the metrics that they show you is dollars per labor hour. And so all these assumptions that you make on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, where you're saying, I feel like I need labor for sales that may be coming, but you can't measure how productive those employees are. That dollars per labor hour tells you exactly how productive they are. And we shoot between $80 to $120 per labor hour of productivity. And so if you're down at $40 a labor hour, they're not doing anything. So you have too much labor. And so where to cut, as opposed to just saying, well, we had a busy weekend, we need to have higher labor on Monday to replenish from the weekend. No, it takes all the guesswork out of it at that point. It tells you exactly how to schedule, when to schedule, down to the hour, down to the shift, so you know where you're going to be busy. So it allows smart scheduling.
So I'm pretty upfront and transparent, and I like to tell people that if they're interested in Restaurant Systems Pro, I'm going to be straight with you. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot
of work getting started. And when people hear that, I also follow up and say, running a restaurant's also a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And you can put up a lot of work up front to get systems in place. And over time, if you keep showing up, if you keep using this platform, if you keep putting yourself through the motions, this resistance becomes habit.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find it to be difficult to get started?
It is, because certainly in our restaurant group, we've got multiple concepts, but we're still pretty mom and pop to our core.
Yeah.
So there's 1 or 2 people who drive most things, and this is not that type of program. This is you got to get 10, 12 people on board to get it done, unless you just want to spend 6 hours doing inventory by yourself every week, which is not the way.
You are overhauling your business essentially.
That's right.
You're scraping all the systems and processes out of it, and you have a shell, and then you're shoving new systems into it.
That's right.
Systems that have been fine-tuned and approved over 15 plus more years,
That's right.
So be honest with me. Have you, after getting in there and implementing some of these things, I know that you had some resistance in the beginning.
Yeah.
How do you feel now?
I feel really good, and you can't argue with numbers. I mean, just 2 weeks alone, looking at this labor allotment and what Restaurant System Pro lays out for you from the previous week to the next week. We're able to save $3,000 in labor in 1 week time.
Wow, man.
And
I wish we were doing this interview a month from now to see
what we're doing then. And so it takes 4 or 5 months to kind of get the system where you can see all that stuff, to get all your inventories in and stuff. But it's serious savings, and there's no holes in that. We're able to once again smart schedule, put our high dollar people in the hours where we're busy, and then keep them off the shifts that we're not necessarily busy, but meanwhile still scheduling their 40 hours. It's shown us so much where we've never had to do this, but we had to make a decision to maybe lay people off or do things like that to protect kind of our key employees, that have been with us for a long time. We kind of call them our core.
Yeah.
So we've had to make hard decisions, but this visibility gave us the tools to say, no, we've got too much labor, or we don't have enough labor. We need to hire, or we need to lay off, just so we're not taking 10 or 15 hours away from everybody.
Yeah.
So it's tough, but but it's making us money,
Yeah.
So
and, I think it's important for people to realize that whenever you're practicing anything new, whether it's golf or learning the guitar or anything, the first couple months, or especially in the very beginning, the first couple days of practicing something new, like your brain hurts. Like you're frustrated with yourself. I suck at this. This is annoying. I'm never going to get good at this. And then you keep showing up and you keep going through the motions. You keep using the system. You keep practicing the systems. You keep practicing the procedures. Where are you now versus when you first started, as far as how much resistance there is?
There is none. People are trusting the decision making. We're sitting in manager meetings and saying, "Hey, this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing. This is the evidence that we've been faced with." And all of our managers now, they understand. You know, where before, it felt like we were almost telling them no, like you're giving them a new system and saying no to all the old things that they've always done. But now it's part of who they are and how they make decisions. Certainly at our kind of the top part of our management.
Right.
The bottom part, maybe they're still coming along, but they get it more now.
Yeah, but you always got to lead with the front,
That's right.
And it's I always say I like to think of Restaurant Unstoppable being the framework for discipline. That's what systems and processes are for. It's the framework. It's the channel through energy to run, and it's proven best practices. So you can go up there and try to create all of your own practices, but the odds are that your practices, your procedures aren't going to be as good as people who've devoted their entire lives to fine-tuning systems and processes and digitizing them and creating a service as a software and making them all integrate with each other. Like, you can go create your own, or you can plug in a system that's proven to work. And it takes time to develop the habits and the routines around this, but you are living proof. You said after 1 week,
right,
$3,000 off your labor.
Yeah. And that's been reflected in the following weeks. And we've had to adjust. Maybe we had some holes some places, but we just moved. We were able to shuffle people around. We knew where we could get those people from. And that's just in labor. That's not. We're not talking about food costs. We're not talking about anything else. We're not talking about liquor. There's savings there too. So it's in the like $10,000. Every other week, every week type of deal.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
Any other thoughts you want to share with us before we wrap it up? I have another interview that's starting in 4 minutes. I have to wrap this, but I'm so grateful that you were able to sit with us and give us this testimonial.
No big deal. This. Robert's a top line sales driver.
Yeah.
So we've never been. I guess maybe I'm the complement to that, where I'm more analytical and stuff. But this speaks to me. It's easy for me to understand. I love these numbers, and they give me the ability to make numbers, to see numbers and make decisions. So,
beautiful.
I love this program. Fred's not like, he doesn't sugarcoat things, and so if you're not doing the work and doing exactly as it's supposed to be, then he's going to tell you and say, hey, you're not able to save money because you're not doing these things. Right. So you may not always love those conversations, but it's what you need to hear.
How's the customer support been?
It's crazy.
It's out of this world, isn't it, dude? I've never seen anything like it.
They're so, I text them a lot.
Yeah.
If I call, they call me right back. I mean, most weeks I'm talking to somebody with their team every single day.
Yeah.
So I mean, we kind of consider they're kind of part of our team at this point. We're it's not we're working with them or for we're working with them. We're not. There's not this hierarchy of that we're working for them or whatever.
Right.
They're part of our team.
Partnership. It's an extension of your team, for sure.
That's right. That's right.
Jared, thank you so much, man, for carving out some time during the National Restaurant Show to sit with us and to share your testimonial.
Yeah.
Did I force you into anything? Did I give you lines before this? This is real.
No, this is real. This is
real.
definitely real.
All
and
right.
we're in the middle of actually seeing some results of it.
Yeah.
So this is. I don't think it gets more real than this.
Not only is this real, this is impromptu. Within 60 seconds of shaking Jared's hand, we had him behind a microphone.
Literally pulled me off the street.
Yeah. So thank you so much, my man. I have to roll because I have to go get my next guest, but I appreciate you taking time.
Thanks, Eric.
Cheers.
Yep.